My next guest is Lisa Caprelli. She is a speaker, songwriter, and an award-winning author of the Unicorn book series, Unicorn Jazz. She's the author of 17 books and has produced music videos for kids. Lisa is a producer and director of Unicorn Jazz Presents The Thing I Do, Seasons 2, a family show on Amazon TV. She was inspired by Sesame Street, and with her kids' multimedia brand of Unicorn Jazz, kids can be sent into their own video content, music, and talent to be part of the show. The Thing I Do show was created at the onset of the pandemic to share happiness for children and educators. Her 26 years plus in marketing and branding and over 150 CEOs led her to changing her life in 2018 to create her children's brand, Unicorn Jazz. Unicorn Jazz is her first book. It's about a shy unicorn who moves to a new land in search of new friends. She feels like she does not belong, that no one understands her until she meets a new friend, Woof the Crow. The book series offers social emotional learning components such as empathy, kindness, love, belonging, believing in others, feelings, and more. Lisa lives in Huntington Beach, California. Welcome to the podcast, Lisa.
I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Well, tell me about a time when you were in the trenches and managed to crawl out.
Oh my gosh, well, there's many times in my life. I am 50 years old this year. I'm proud of it, young at heart, which I feel we all can be and should be. And fast forward my life into working with a children's brand, it certainly keeps me young at heart. I'm so grateful and love the work we do with and for kids and educators and parents that we reach. I would say there's so many, but I'll say one that many of us can relate to is simply the pandemic and the changes that many of us had to go through, including me. I was going on a city by city tour, connecting and speaking to like the entire school's assembly style. And as an author, one of the main things you want to do is get your book and stories out to as many people as you can. So my audience being children and children's books, I was very happy that it was taking off and going well, quicker than I could have imagined. Pandemic enters, and like many, I put myself in the education, artist, entertainment area. Life stopped for us, and rather than focus on what I can't do, I immediately said, well, what can I do? And we got to bring happiness to kids, and that's how I created the show that's now on Amazon TV, Unicorn Jazz Presents The Thing I Do, which you mentioned. And I used the opportunity of time to create lots of videos, streaming content for the kids and the parents on YouTube, and taking advantage of connecting with new people and building relationships through social media. For example, you and I met through social media. Now I get to be on your great show.
Yeah, and that's like a lot of people, they found a lot of creativity out of the pandemic. And so you have a background in marketing. So tell me a little bit about how you shifted a lot of that experience in marketing and learned some skills that maybe you weren't so experienced in to start with the Amazon TV show and just writing and songwriting and all that.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, you never discount the experience life will bring you. In my 20s, if I could have imagined that I am doing what I love to do and what I'm feeling purposeful about and passionate, and writing is my number one love and joy. And it stems from my childhood. I often say my only voice was on paper. So as a child, I was super shy, super introverted. I put some of that personality into Unicorn Jazz. I always wished I was a singer. That's why she sings, and that's her special talent. And I didn't know that all the previous jobs and the people I worked for, including having my own marketing company and getting to work alongside the CEOs, over 160 is what I've counted to date. And advising them on how to grow their business or brand would lead me to being able to rapidly, jumpstart and nurture and reach numerous children all over the globe.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I thought if people can take me serious, because I completely kind of changed overnight, marketing, branding company,
Mm-hmm.
then children's author. And so people that knew me in the business world were like, what happened?
Yeah.
Why children's books? So I started hearing the same thing from adults. And I just said, well, one, it was a way for me to revisit my childhood and books that I wish would have helped me. You know, I have a book called Skip a Step that before I ran with Unicorn Jazz, Skip a Step was imparting wisdom for young entrepreneur minds, where I interviewed, 12 different CEO leaders about what makes for happiness and meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And it was from my own research and work that I really just wanted to change my life and do what I love, as we often hear we should do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's great how you kind of shifted on a dime and just jump started this. And this is, now proved successful for you, and, exploring that piece, like you said, that you were missing when you were growing up. And how is it writing songs for the show? So you didn't have any background in songwriting. Did you have to learn a whole new skill set?
I always say that you should consult with leaders and experts in their
Mm-hmm.
field. That's what the thing I do is about, is you should do the thing you do. The thing I do is writing. It was not songwriting or singing. I get professional people to do that for me. We have 9 songs out and counting. So I consulted with songwriters, and I came up with my own ideas, being poetic, and then
Mm-hmm.
we created a song. In 3-4 hours, you can have a new song the way we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's fun to say that you're a songwriter as well, but it came from my writing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that just kind of then evolved into that song, and then fit with the books perfectly, because they like to have songs that go along with the books when kids are reading, right? And it's probably helped make Unicorn Jazz so popular, correct?
It's a combination of what I call edutainment,
Yeah.
cognitive education and entertainment. And, I think back to when I grew up with Sesame Street, and when I had my children grow up with Sesame Street, and many of us, can relate. And when you take a look at the psychology of why we can learn through songs and music, and it started with scripts and writing, it's a combination of it hitting all our senses, emotions, and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I wanted to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to just be, known as a book writer. I wanted to encompass all kinds of ways where we can learn. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I told a little bit in the bio about how Unicorn and Jazz, they're social emotional learning books. And this past year, you've done a lot of virtual school visits. So tell me a little bit about the work that you're currently doing with schools in the 21-22 school year, and also maybe some of the translations that your books will be, languages that they'll be translated
Yeah,
to.
I mean, I go wherever I'm called on, and to serve children. I'm doing a virtual Unicorn Jazz world tour, because virtually we do reach a lot of people. I'm grateful that teachers, educators, schools, call on me to present the importance of literacy, reading, writing, and it's done in a fun, educational, and entertaining way. And I mean, the best day of my life is to be in front of children, and I'm just overjoyed that thankfully I did no technology before the pandemic. So it's just helped me to get everyone else on board and being able to use it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And then you said in the pre-chat that your books would be translated into Spanish and French within the next year.
Yeah, many of them are in Spanish already. And being happy with Unicorn Jazz is in French. We just got to get it published soon. And, again, wherever there's children, my joy is that, especially when the pandemic lifts more and more, I'll be back to going into schools. And I just know that the vision for our future is wherever there are children, which is all over the world, I'll get to travel connect, teach, and reach. And the feedback already has been tremendous. It was before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So I just look forward to those days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You also do some professional speaking to high school students. Since you've pivoted to writing children's books, tell me a little bit about some of these speaking engagements that you do as well.
Yeah, well, I kind of tell people I'm like Benjamin Button in that I started working with adults business, working with college students. I was an adjunct professor. And then my book, Skip a Step, was intended for teens and young adults. And then now my children's books, elementary school, I do have baby books and products coming out for babies. So again, little did this shy girl know that a lot of my messages can reach all ages. I mean, I'm really shocked at that because, at first when someone has me on their podcast like yourself, the first thing they might think, well, how is she going to, children don't listen to this, but I'm an adult that made this product. I'm an adult that had the children who are our future in mind. And many of us are parents or grandparents or know someone that has children, or we were once a child. And people like the behind the scenes of the why, the wherewithal, the incredible team behind me. I have an illustrator. I have people that help me with the puppets. I have professional singer-songwriters, professional kid actresses, Broadway actors that connected with me through my outreach, or they found us through social media during the pandemic. And people like that story of connection. And when you help others rise, the joy you get back. We do a lot of give backs with book donations. We're doing that for the holidays with 5 children's charities, hospitals, nonprofits, orphanages. I mean, it's so much busyness, as we all are busy. We all get the same 24 hours in a day. And for me, I just enjoy encompassing the missions and the help and give back, because I grew up poor, and when I'm able to give books and collectively get a community together, it touches my heart when I'm live sharing, presenting, and representing, because I just feel like we should always help each other.
And you also told me in the pre-chat that you have a new book coming out that's helping give back.
Yes, that's called Help and Give Back. I'm so proud of it. And I am so grateful for people listening, because almost all the shows I talk about are help and give back, and how it's important for children to help and give back, and us as adults leading them. I just said we have to do a book called Help and Give Back. And it's full picture art of the characters of Unicorn Jazz, like doing like a Habitat for Humanity build, helping if you like to, recycle, maybe you have a passion for the environment, the ocean. Book giveaways, that's going to be special to us, the pages we have, helping. There's so many ways to help. So that's a lot of fun. I know that's going to always be my most treasured book when people ask.
Out of everything we talked about today on the podcast, what's one thing you'd like listeners to remember?
I feel that it's important to help others in your life. I did start as a young girl with my sisters volunteering our time at a hospital, but that may not be your passion or calling. I often say the opposite of selfish is to help others. Take off the I and make it about we or the community. And I say that helps people, especially since the pandemic and the aftermath, is everyone has been touched or affected in some way, impacted by someone they know or their own household. And I hear that, and I see the pain and the hurt, and I just tell them, who can you help today? Take off the some of the story of the change off of you, and give that glory back to someone in need.
That's so important to remember, because we can all benefit from learning about others when we're helping, either like at a hospital that you did as a young girl, or just volunteering at a food bank, or starting young, right? Starting at that young age, and then learning about others. Where can people connect with you and find you online?
Yes, I would love for anyone listening. You go to unicornjazz.com. I'm Lisa Caprelli. I'm connected to all our social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. If you know someone who's a part of a school or you have a child in school, I love coming and presenting virtually and in person one day. So I tell people to keep that in mind. There's a lot of information and sharing with kids to enjoy the things that they do. That's why the book and the song, The Thing I Do, is so important to us. So I enjoy people, following along on social media and connecting. That's what it's there for.
Great. I'll make sure that I put all those links in the show notes. Well, thank you so much for being on the Out of the Trenches podcast today. It was a pleasure.
Yay! Thank you, Dana, for having me. Loving your show and getting to know you and your great work in the world as well.